In the bottom left, in blue, we have Caesar again. So Ash is probably regarded as like the best Caesar in the community. He's a bit out of practice. He hasn't really been playing up until like very recently. I think today he said he hadn't played seriously in about 6 months. So he's coming in a bit rusty. Red Jams has been more active. Ash was the first Groove Award champion, and Red Jams was the second. There was like 3 or 4 months between them, possibly even longer actually. But Ash also did compete in Groove War 2 and made top 8, so he was like a very serious contender there as well. So I think what we're going to see, Red Jams is going to be more familiar with the map, he's going to be more practiced, whereas we're going to see Ash coming in and just making very, very good plays in general. I think Sakoya is in chat. Sakoya is mentioning that Ash learned that Treb Balloon isn't a thing anymore, which is, you know, one of Caesar's strongest options. And that's gone. Caesar was one of the few high tiers that didn't get touched in this balance patch, like directly. So his groove charge is the same, it works the same way, but he didn't get any direct nerfs. What he got instead was a bunch of units that he works well with, and they got nerfed. So he is going to suffer a little in that regard because he is going to. This is why I need a co-commentator.
All right. So going into Caesar, I covered this a little bit on a quick tier list video I put up the other day. But Caesar lost some access to like Pike shenanigans, Treb shenanigans. The thing is, though, Caesar also gained some stuff with Knights. Knights are really strong in this meta. Caesar's always loved Knights, but they were sort of downplayed in favor of Trebuchets with the Pike spam, Treb spam kind of thing. Now that that's gone, Caesar's Knights are demons. You can wipe out your opponent's entire front with them. So I think that Caesar is actually still in the top 5 commanders, just not the top anymore. Tenri, on the other hand, super nerfed. Tenri is all the way down to slow charge. I thought she was overrated when she got bumped to medium. Still good, don't get me wrong, still one of the best, but not unbeatable anymore. At slow, and again, I really covered this, especially in the tier video, but Tenri doesn't get groove when she needs it, and she can't use it as freely. Like, it used to be a free escape. I can use my groove, get out of trouble. Now, if you use a slow charge groove to move 3 spaces back, you've just shot yourself in the foot. So she needs to play safe. She doesn't have that escape anymore. She can't just be like, okay, I will assassinate this one unit with my groove because that's all you did. That's all you're going to do until you get your slow charge groove again. And on this map, you're not going to fight a lot of things early, so it's going to take her a long time to build up the groove. She's got to wait for turn like 5 to start getting into combat, turn 6. Caesar's medium charge. Caesar's going to get groove first, have that early pressure. And now Tenri has to respect that pressure until she gets groove. And if she waits too long, then Caesar can go in, get groove again, which Caesar is really good at doing. So I think Caesar will actually have the edge in a Tenri fight.
Yeah, and I think you're right. I think Caesar right now is stronger than Tenri. And like people are asking about Tenri, how like strong was Tenri in general. Tenri was auto banned until this patch. We considered her too strong. She had options that would essentially break maps. On this map you won't see it, but for example, if there was a port on this map, you could build a warship out on the edge and she could warp it into one of those central villages where ground units really struggle to kill sea units. So she could put a warship in the center of the map. It's on beach tiles. It would just wipe out anything that came close to it.
Another big problem was Tenri Harpoon. Good luck with air.
Oh yeah, I mean that's like she has. I mean she still has those setups. And we might even see that. Well, not that particular one. There's no naval in it, but she could do stuff like that, and it was definitely it broke maps in a way. Like it wasn't necessarily that it was overpowered, even though I guess like it kind of was. It was so that she did things that made maps function very differently from the way they were designed. I guess kind of like being able. Like if you're coming here from like the StarCraft community, very similar to like a battle cruiser being able to teleport across the map. Imagine if you could do that with anything. Like basically just like warp a Thor into your opponent's main or something. Uh, in a situation like where it wasn't designed to, or like warping like borrowed banelings,
Banelings. Yeah,
banelings,
into the
yeah,
SCVs.
yeah, stuff like that. Where I was
Without
good,
having to build a worm, protect the worm, empty them, guide them. They could just suddenly be there.
yeah. So she definitely like did that kind of thing. What happened aside from like the time nerf, so her charge is slow now? I think that's enough. I think she's actually in a very good place right now because before she could get it very very quickly. And then when you get it that quickly, you're able to like make those plays very quickly, like before your opponent can react to them. Is the point I'm
Let's
going
talk
for.
about Red Jam's positioning here. It is crazy good. That knight is zoning the low health Caesar off of that village. Now, what Caesar really wants to do is cap the village and then heal their commander, just like Tenri did. But that knight is going to punish it. It could go in on Caesar, it could go in on the village, it could go in on the sword. Meanwhile, Tenri can't really get as punished by that alchemist, so Tenri can more safely go after the village on the left. I think Red Jams has a little bit of an early lead here.
That said, using the sword to capture the village, we're probably going to see Caesar heal off of it. And then there isn't a night crit condition if he does that. And there isn't really anything else to threaten, so Caesar's going to be in a good position. I think this Tenri up at the north is very well positioned though. There's nothing really backing up that mage. Tenri can just run in, thwack the village, build groove. And she's 99% health, so effectively
Oh,
effectively
the
100%.
pikes!
And of course, here is like how you can tell Ash has come very much into like from the 1.0 meta of old, where he's like, I can't balloon trebuchets anymore. I'm gonna balloon spears. So he's taking every nerfed unit and just pushing it forward together, and it works. Like this is still a perfectly valid strategy to use. When they nerfed it, they didn't go over the top. They were just like, we're gonna balance this. We're not gonna make it like worthless into oblivion. So he's using this extra mobility that the balloon will provide, and he's pushing spears forward, and he's gonna get a lot of value out of that. Especially up against that knight. The knight now can no longer punish Caesar at all because the spear will just run in and kill it. Oh, and look at the income actually. Ash is so far ahead. Like, if you had told me that Ash hadn't been had just been like not practicing at all, and hadn't played 2.0 at all, I wouldn't even notice. He's doing super well. Big income lead right now. Probably gonna see that drop down a little when Tenri goes to the free hit on this village. She builds groove, gets to 45%. But can't capture, which is quite important.
I think Red Jam's made too many swords. It's just not going to play into Ash's army.
Yeah, Ash definitely has a very strong anti-sword force. He's got these spears, got a dog. This sword down here is with the commander. Like, you have to build a couple just for the capture phase, but there's this big force of swords up here that isn't really going to be very effective in the late game. Red Gem's making another knight, which there's this awkward thing again. I mean, one of the knights could go north. I would expect this knight to rotate up. Possibly even put it in a position where it can crit if anything tries to take this village on near the beach tiles. But I think he needs to swing it north where there isn't as much like spear force to threaten it out.
Yeah, Red Gems is doubling down on the knights, but I'm not sure if that's the best call. You're fighting into Pike Archer.
And also, like, people are talking about the balloon, and I agree with this as well. The balloon is going to be very effective at blocking because there's no anti-air. Like, the only anti-air on this map is this mage really far back. Meanwhile, Ash has a mage up near the front. Even as an archer is like additional. And we saw some of that in Zombie Grub versus Barry, where the archer, they weren't the most effective anti-air in the game, but they were shooting the air and doing like decent damage at points. So just having it as an option that exists is like a really strong play. And archers are just really, they're great with spear walls now. There isn't really a lot here to punish an archer because these knights are going to get zoned by spears, so if they try and go in, they're just going to die. And Red Gems doesn't have an archer. Like, one of the really strong counterplays to spears is you send in an archer, do enough damage that a sword or a dog can finish it off, and then you punch through where the gap is, like, so like a knight can then follow up. That was one of the first anti-trebuchet spear tech strategies that came out, was like archer, dog, knight. Knight crit kills the trebuchet instantly, and like a treb plus 3 spears was worth roughly the same as archer, dog, knight. The archer, dog, knight is even stronger now, so we're like, maybe that will come into play, but Red Gems has to make an archer, really. And Ash continuing to build spears, gets his own knight, gets a second balloon. We're going to see this archer and this spear get to the front lines very quickly.
Ash is going to get a lot more value out of that knight because he's not pushing into a spear wall. He's got Caesar, who just loves knights. We talked about that before. And Ash actually has anti-air built a little bit sooner, even though no one's gone air yet. Also, this map is a little bit CAFO-like in the center. You've got that forest formation with mountains that gives you a lot of center control. Spears and archers love that type of terrain. They can just camp in it, and it's really hard to drive them out.
So one thing that is being brought up is the players are taking their time on their turns. Ash is like using his time, thinking about what he's going to do. I'm a bit worried. Ash is one player that really likes to push. When we were around 5-minute turn times, like, he really liked to push the, like, I'm going to use all 5 minutes every single turn. Really think. I watched him stream when he was playing in Groove of War 2. Definitely likes to think through every move that he takes. Like, does all of his damage calculations, has a little, like, notepad up, maybe. But, we're gonna see how this goes. We're gonna see what these, spears do, what Caesar does. Is Caesar gonna... Oops, sorry.
The thing about spears in the new meta is they're not any weaker than they were before. They're still just as strong. It's still difficult to really counter them. But because they cost more, trading into them with weak units that won't win the fight is now more effective. That was more the hidden nerf to spears. Like, if it used to be if you go sword into spear, you lose that trade. You're down on gold, actually. But now you go sword into spear, you both have to heal at half health, you're up 100 gold.
I'm a little worried for Ash here. Because, he's definitely gonna... here's the thing as well, like, on your early turns, this is where you really want to, like, keep your time bank, like, low. Be very effective with it. I think Ash has, like, a good lead here, but he is gonna take him some time. I think he's gonna see, like, Caesar run up, hit that, have this sword come in and block this side for Caesar, just to keep him safe. Like, this balloon's keeping him safe. Nothing can really punish him on this, like, on the west flank. Ooh! So he's actually going for a different play, and this also works very well, is that you essentially use Caesar as, like, a wall. And commanders have very, very cost-effective life. To fully reinforce a commander is 500 gold, and they're as strong as a golem, so it's basically a 1200 cost unit that costs 500 and reinforces very cheaply and self-heals each turn. It only self-heals a little bit, but it's enough to make a difference sometimes.
Ash's biggest weakness in this game is just going to be the timer. I think Red Gems is not in position yet to deal with pikes. You need things that can go in. If you have, like, a few well-positioned alchemists, you can just rush them. But the knights aren't quite going to cut it unless you had at least, like, one more knight in range of that other pike. That being said, Ash can't really reprise on the left just yet. It's going to take them a few turns as well. So we're going to see them stay even, just keep their hold on villages. And I don't think that Pike Balloon and Caesar is going to be able to push into the stronghold, not with all that production there. So the game could stall out in a few turns if no one makes a move. And because of that, Red Jams, who's been doing better on the timer, is going to have the advantage. Kind of puts the onus on Ash to really take advantage of that Caesar and press forward. We see another balloon being built, so they're determined to start reinforcing and keeping aggression going.
And I think that works in this situation because you've got Caesar, medium charge groove. I think if he fights next turn, even if he doesn't get a KO, he's definitely going to build, like, have groove the turn after. And he's got double balloon play. And balloons are great with Caesar's groove because the way balloons place units is like left to bottom, for example. Caesar can run in and groove both units perfectly. And if you have two balloons, you can set up 4 units very easily, get them into perfect position, and then you can punish very well. And here we see a night crit come in. This is quite cost effective damage. I'm not 100% sure if, like, how cost effective it is, but it is, like, at least, like, vaguely even. So Caesar takes a bunch of damage.
Actually,
Groove.
this was very smart on Red Jam's side because next turn, Ash could have ballooned onto the forests and mountains, abandoned this flank, gained center, and pushed. Now that can't happen. If they do that, they can't retaliate against the knight.
I do think one thing though is that he can now push pikes forward and kill the knight. And take out the village. Oh no, he can't take out the village at the same time unless he goes north, which I don't think he would. That seems like a less than optimal play. And here's one thing. So I was talking to Red Jams a bunch. He brought up some concerns with the map, which I then took to the map testing people, and they played through the map with Red Jams. And said actually it's not really as bad as Red Jams was making it out to be. One thing Red Jams was mentioning was that he thinks very fast knight into dragon is really strong on this map. And he seemed incredibly confident about that. So, ooh, uses the barge with the knight. That's interesting. Curious how this is going to play out now. Because that's not a position I would have thought the knight would be in otherwise. And that means there's a very aggressive, like, group of units here against, like, not entirely softened up Caesar, but, like, the Caesar is definitely a much weaker position.
You have to keep in mind that 2 pikes are worth more than a 6 knight. So if they go, move balloon, stand on forest, crit, kill knight, or actually you don't even need the crit, just 1 walk forward, kill the knight, you're losing 250 gold when that pike goes down.
True. So, like, it's going to come down to what is actually, like, a good, efficient trade. I think sacking a pike to kill a knight is going to be very good. But here comes the weakness of Ash again, where he's going to really be thinking about how he's going to spend this turn. And maybe this is, like, a very good plan from Red Jams of just, like, doing things that make you consider lots of options. Like this dragon, if it moves to the center, you have to care about how that's going to interact with 2 different flanks. And Ash,
I love building dragons in the new meta. My name might have given that away a little bit, SneakyDragon. But yeah, I'm a big fan of the early aggressive dragon.
and it does work really well on a lot of maps. So and now people are talking about, we have Shu in the chat. He's like one of the best players in the scene. He got 3rd in Groove of War 3, so very strong player, does very well in Test Your Metal events that we run. Plays large amounts of this game. He is suggesting that this night play perhaps wasn't the best, but we will see. It depends how Ash reacts to it. I do think trading a pike is going to be worth it. He's got this balloon to push forward more reinforcements. You look at that spear, for example, that was just built from that Rax. It's now in the center. It's now in the middle of the action. It influences how the game's going to play. Ash goes for a witch, which is a very good counterplay to the dragon. Like
What I'm
it,
thinking Ash should do is Caesar maybe hits the full health knight, balloon blocks on top after the spear kills the 6 health knight. I don't think there's commander lethal. Sword blocks on bottom to make sure. So you can only hit Caesar on one side, and there's no lethal potential. You got to make sure you can retreat though because of the dragon. That's the only concern. But you have a balloon to do it with.
that is true. I guess we'll see how that plays out. I mean, we got a Caesar on 71%. It's not too bad. Deals average 60% to a knight. 70%. Ooh, but uses the balloon below? Interesting. I think we're seeing a spear crit lineup. Goes for the heal on Caesar instead. Very much favoring the safe play. Lines up the pikes. And actually, I like this balloon play because it means you're forced into like one attack on the pike. So you can't use a sword to soften up the pikes and then finish it off with a different unit.
That was pretty smart.
But now he's collecting his forces. This is like almost Zombie Grub-esque, where he went for this like very fast, aggressive push up north, got a lot of capture, and then kind of pulled back, gathering forces, and getting ready. There's not a lot up in this north position, so now that he's got this big bulk of army, he can really just put pressure up on the north. Oh, dragon comes in, kills the pike. But there isn't really much else you can do to push into this. Like, if you use the spear, you're attacking a 30 defense, 30% defense spear with a like 10% defense pike. They're not going to do... Their pikes deal quite a lot of damage to each other, but they're not going to do too much. That's going to come out fairly even if you attack like that.
However, there's double sword on the pike. I don't know if that's worth you 2 swords, but you could go down sword on the left, sword down on top, finish the pike off with just damn near anything. Then knight and sword takes the remaining sword.
There's a lot of things that could attack a sword that comes down on the left, though.
Yeah, you definitely lose the sword you sent to the left of the pike, no question. And
Yeah.
Caesar could push into that if you do it.
Caesar, with this village below him blocking, could use... Ooh, very aggressive move from Tenri there. Moves into that center position. And there isn't a huge amount that can punish that. Like, if this mage was 1 tile closer, you could get a crit. And that becomes a bit more threatening. But Caesar can't get into these forests. This archer can't move into, like, a safe position. Or that safe. I mean, I guess it could go, like, 1 tile to the right and the balloon can block. Which, like, gives you a free hit. As a Tenri can't punish, but... Archers aren't very effective against commanders at the best of times, so a flagstone commander with like 1 unit up on the right, I don't know how effective that would be.
I'm loving the giant build there. Very good on this map.
Yeah, and now we have these 2 big power units, right? We've got the dragon, lots of mobility, very high damage. There's these roads here, so the dragon's going to do a lot of damage on those. And then you've got this big, bulky giant that comes up between it. Very high health. Very... If it takes damage, it becomes stronger at certain percents. So... Yeah, you've got that to like back up the dragon. Or walk out in front and tank hits for the dragon as well. Creates that very strong front line. And also, Tenri Groove on both of those is massively threatening.
We're definitely seeing the difference in meta here. Asher's playing a bit more like 1.3. Got lots of balloons, lots of pikes. but it just doesn't work as well against this new hyper aggressive meta where you're going dragons and knights and golems and things that can just run so fast. They can go up to your front pikes, kill them before you can reinforce them. And even if you build a pike wall, you don't have that tread behind it anymore.
Exactly. And also, I mean, to quote Shu, "Whoa, free spear." Like, this dragon killed a spear and there's no punish. And there isn't a huge amount of punish this turn either. Like, he can move his witch into position and he can get his mage more into position. But he has 2 anti-air units against the dragon. And, like, the sheer pressure of dragon, saying, "Whoa, free knight." I guess that's true as well. The knight, yeah, this knight here, up here, 70% damage from a spear. So we're talking like 62 damage average right now. Spear does that, that's cost effective. You're throwing away a unit, which lowers the unit count, which isn't ideal, but you are punishing the knight build. So I guess it comes down to...
basically 420 gold.
It is 420 gold. Excellent. That is exactly what I wanted to hear.
Considering we're talking on planes, it'll be a little bit less, but it's all even because whatever kills the pike is probably going to take a little bit of damage, so 420.
I like this balloon placement. Means that the mage can't get into range. Probably gonna see Caesar. Yep, go for the kill. Caesar has groove. So as long as Caesar doesn't die, very dangerous, like where he is right now. And you could put the balloon underneath, because that mage won't reach. So Caesar is going to be completely safe on 2 sides. And there isn't a witch to do a witch hex. And there isn't... And actually Caesar... So here's like this tiny little advantage you can get when you're like slightly below 100%, is you're very unlikely to kill something in retaliation. Especially when there's like a forest and a flagstone that you can be attacked from. So these swords, you can't suicide them in for free damage. So Caesar's now very, very safe. Probably going to see this spear hit the knight. Oh no, moves back. Plays it safe. Wants to keep the unit count higher. Probably going to see that covered by either the mage or the witch or both. Witch goes in for coverage. Could definitely see like witch hex coming into play here as well. Could even see a second witch come out. Go for that double hex. It's very, very useful to have. 2 hexes plus a mage hit will kill a dragon every single time.
One thing that Red Gems is doing that I don't love is still making swords. And I get it, you're going for the dragon, you're going for the golem, they're expensive, you want to keep your unit count up. But Ash has started to get clued in on the new meta. We're seeing some dogs come out, which counter swords pretty well now. Pikes always countered swords, and if they take the center, you cannot trade into them anymore. I'm not like a pike on a forest. Forget it. A sword won't live that. It's not even worth the chip damage, and Al can just heal it right up. So if Caesar can take the center, I think all those swords are going to be a big liability for Red Gems.
Oh, and Ash just being very aggressive here, just pushing right up in front of Red Jam's face. And saying, actually, Caesar, no matter how much damage he takes, he will just have groove. So Caesar is going to be a massive threat here. Very much a case of like, I can just push my army forward, hit you, and then go for groove, and then hit you again. And I know people are mentioning timers, and like, Ash should probably be doing his unit builds a lot faster. Ooh, double knight. That's scary. Especially when there's 1 spear on this map. And okay, like things like dragons and golems to an extent, although knight crits are actually very good against golems. Ash is just saying, I'm just gonna throw everything I have at you and kill you in 1 turn.
And that's definitely the right call. We talked about Groove Charge earlier. Tenri does not have Groove right now. And even if she did, she's no longer in a position to make great use of it. Caesar just has this swarm. What are you going to do? Maybe if you could move that balloon right now, you could threaten lethal on Caesar. But with what? Even if the balloon could be moved out of the way, it's just not there. Okay, Knight crit, and then Dragon goes on top. It's still not enough. You'd have to get a suicide. It would have to roll well. Maybe if Tenri had Groove right now, it would be possible. And if she was at least medium, she would have it. But she's slow. She doesn't have it when she needs it. Caesar does. Caesar's the one threatening pressure, and it might decide who gets the center of the map.
And actually, this position in the center is really bad for Tenri as well, because she's surrounded by forest. She can't kill anything. So she isn't going to get an opportunity to build Groove as well. So we're probably going to see she has to retreat. Yep, goes for a full retreat to the north. But Ashe might have even calculated lethal at this point. I don't know. Like, you can double Witch Hex using Caesar Groove, for example. You could get hit. Night Crit is an option here as well. And anything that body blocks against Caesar right now, like those swords, Spear Crit's an option. So he can easily just push up and deal a lot of damage. Oh, that's a very smart play actually. Using the sword to damage that spear guarantees that this sword on the left won't die. Well, actually, won't die as easily because you could still throw this spear up, kill that sword, throw this spear, hit that one, use the sword to finish. So there's a night crit here, and I don't think there's much to stop it.
The night crit will definitely happen. There's a Witch Hex. The main thing in Red Jam's favor is the terrain is actually working against Caesar now, because Caesar can't get close enough to do a true double melee attack. 1-2 through the forest, 1 onto the flagstone. Caesar can't get onto that next forest tile. So if there's going to be a Caesar Groove here, it'll probably be on launching another unit forward so it can reach Tenri, or maybe doing a double Archer Witch type deal, so the Archer can attack twice, the Witch can hex twice. If that does happen, that's 40 damage on Tenri plus a night crit, but you need one more thing to make it work, and I don't know if it's there.
That said, he could just not hit Tenri. I mean, the night crit's obvious, but he could just like smash her army. Those swords are just gonna die, and there's very little that can happen. And here's the other really powerful thing about Caesar right now. He could just not spend Groove. He could just say, okay, I'm just gonna hold Groove for a moment. Also, I just realized, and I'm gonna change this now. I had the music turned down a little. That should be a bit better for the stream.
Yeah, I think you're right. Saving it is probably a good call. It's not going to get him any extra kills. The only time to use the Groove in this situation is if you're going to kill Tenri or make a big play.
And there's definitely things like this balloon here could move up to this forest to body block safely. So the archer could move up into the center and be completely fine.
Yeah, both players made much fewer mages than I'm used to seeing. I usually see like 2 mages very early on in like a 2.0 match. Though Ashe did make the Witch, which sort of compensates a bit, and the Archer. So I think Ashe sort of has like a pseudo mage there. But Red Jams is only now getting that second mage.
Also, something I'm kind of curious about is if he can punch a hole through this line of swords and spears up here. The Witch, he could do a Caesar Groove, for example, and get the Witch to... Oh no, there's Flagstone there. He would have to kill this second sword, which I don't think is going to happen.
Yeah, and the dragon would survive it, and the Witch would get killed by an alchemist. I don't think it's worth it to do anything too crazy, although Ashe is running low on time. He's got a good position now. It's time to just push forward, take advantage of it.
It really comes down to, I don't think we're going to see Caesar Groove use this turn, which I think is fine. Like, he doesn't have to. I think we're going to see Caesar line up, get ready to use Groove. keep himself safe. I mean, he's got these balloons. This mountain makes it very difficult to attack him from the north. None of these units actually along this side over here can like touch him like from there. So he could go up one into that forest. I was expecting the balloon to cover him on the south, but that might not even be necessary. Like this, a knight could run around and hit him, but it wouldn't be a crit. So yeah,
Biggest prob-
just like banking groove, and it's just going to be very effective probably next turn.
I think the biggest problem for Ash right now is the timer and those early pikes. Pikes are slow, and Ash has lost over half their time. You need to win the game. You need to take villages. The positioning of those pikes is so that they're in range of the villages. They want to take those back, recover income, because I think they've been 200 down on income for like 4 turns now.
Look, they are even on income actually. The map is completely split across the center. The only real difference is that Ash has the center now. Actually, just literally just forced Tenri out and just said, no, it's mine now. And we could see a potential... I don't know if he can line it up so he can threaten double knight on the HQ, but he can get close.
What's the unit count at? I'm really curious.
Ash has a lead, and this is before units have been built. So he's about to jump up by... Who builds a golem, so we're probably going to see like a dog or a sword come out. So he has a 4-unit lead at the end of his turn, and he had... That was before he did builds. So he has quite a lead. Red Gems needs to kill stuff, and I don't actually think he can.
Nah, that's your classic KFO archer right there. Once it gets to the center, it is very difficult to zone out, and it's going to tax you every turn you fight near it.
And it has crit at anything that comes near it. And okay, like, in this case, like, archer crit isn't going to do a huge amount to a commander, for example, but there's just lots of infantry, and infantry take a lot of damage from archers. And the knight does as well, actually. That's another important thing. Archer crit on a knight is incredibly cost effective and very good use of an archer.
You definitely want to see that golem coming in and being aggressive. On the right side where the pikes can't reach it, that golem is very strong. Oh, nice.
I actually didn't see that play coming. I thought that was a good block, but I guess I was wrong. Like, the mage could just walk across to the left. But you know, that mage is now in knight crit range, so okay, you killed the balloon. Balloons don't attack, and they're very useful. They're very useful for transport, but Ash has a second balloon, so can transport, I guess, the dogs to the front line. Possibly like one of these spears as well. Get that forward, switch the front. And also
Red
this...
Gems.
Oh, sorry, I was just going to say, this village that's just been used to reinforce a sword is very low. Like, a sword can kill it. So that could easily be neutral next turn.
Yeah, I'm just not loving all these swords that Red Gem built. They just can't do the job. Swords are really, really good on maps that have more wide-range terrain. You can send 2 of them to Rome, cap a village, turn something. They can be really scary when you've just got massive numbers of them, but on a village like this where you're doing close quarters combat, swords don't trade well into anything on good terrain. Maybe you want to have a few to cap to go after alchemists, but dogs counter swords. They just do. Pikes counter swords. They're kind of countered by their low health counterparts. You don't want to fight with them. Yeah, I'm seeing someone say sword into archer. That's what I do too. Goes for the knight though.
Guess knight deals more damage? Let's have a look. Effective against Archer, 70%. Knight effective against Archer, 105. So yeah, the Knight definitely doing the bigger damage there. And that does weaken the option of like grooving the Archer to hit Tenri twice, for example. Ooh, but this
Also
front line's very fragile.
It's not as fragile as you think, because remember, those pikes on the left can't make it to that front line. The Alchemist and the Knight are just dead. That top sword is just dead.
Yeah, I think like the main thing here, and here's the thing, the timer's coming into effect for red jams as well. He's having to think about stuff. Oh, and here's one of the new unit compositions that we're gonna start seeing is I don't know what the vote was, but some people were taking a vote on like, was it Barbouchet?
I've heard Barbouchet. That's been the most popular lately. I don't know if it won the vote. I've got no idea where that Barbouchet is going. I mean, you can't really put it anywhere.
I guess it could come down to the south and it could like swing down that way, but I don't know. So here's the thing, like those pikes didn't kill, even with crit, but a hex will finish it off. You can get some good hexes here. Or the archer could finish off that mage as well. I'm kind of surprised this knight didn't come up and hit the village and then the sword take, but I guess he's just using these knights as kind of like a reserve unit and then getting them ready for when Caesar has to do groove.
Remember, Ash is winning now and still has a lower clock. So Ash wants to put on the pressure, maybe not make the most super duper optimized plays, but as long as it achieves more or less the same thing, it's the right call. That way Red Jams is going to be the one on the clock.
Yeah, and he's just constantly picking off units. He's moving faster now. You can definitely see like he's not taking his time anymore. He's really just pushing. And he's being very, very conservative with his units when it comes to them dying. Apparently Trebarge won by a single vote, so it's the Trebarge. Used to be Treballoon, now it's Trebarge. I think I voted for Barbouchet, but
I think Barbouchet won in terms of that's all I've seen in discard, but Trebarge did win the original.
okay. Either is factually correct. We'll go with that. So Trebarge or I like Barbouchet. I'm gonna use Barbouchet. Actually,
I think everyone in your stream chat is using Barbouchet.
Okay, Barbouchet rolls more off the tongue. Yeah, that makes sense. And it's more easily distinguishable from Trebarge as well, I will say that. So, Barbouchet coming in. We're gonna see a barbershop meme, I guarantee it. But,
Alright, it's turn 10. Tenri still does not have groove. This is why I keep saying it, she's B tier now. It's like she needed this groove turns ago, and she's at 70%. Meanwhile, Caesar's groove has exerted this crazy pressure on the center of the map.
yeah, and he's holding it as well, which is the smart play. Actually, I just want to say, like, this is some anti-Ryota formation right here now. Where, like, you can't do, like, multiple jumps. Like, red jams. I don't know if this is, like, instinctive or if it's just a situation that's, like, making it worthwhile to, like, do it this way, but it is very reminiscent of how you would see people play against Ryota when Ryota has groove.
I mean, there's a lulls thing you could do. The pike right below Tenri could go 2 squares down. You could then get a chain off your own units, go down on that treb, jump down the dog, jump over the village, jump up over that pike, triple across Caesar Witch Balloon, down on the knight, over the stronghold, over the village.
There's actually enough units here that you could build up a super long chain and just instant kill the commander. I actually think that might be an option if this was Ryota, but
I'm not sure insta kill on Forest. Maybe if the giant hits first.
Maybe. Enough that, well, it would kill everything in the way, so,
Yeah, you would kill everything else.
yeah. Which might be enough. I mean, it would kill the dragon for the... Ooh, being aggressive with Tenri here. And this is where swords come into play. Because we're going to start seeing sword crits. We're going to start seeing this aggressive push. Are we going to see this golem come forward?
Yeah, Golem can take out pikes. Not on planes, though. We talked about that last vid. Or last match with Zombie Grub. But it could take
Oh,
out the 9.
took out the weaker one, and then you got a sword crit follow-up. So there's damage coming in here. Ooh, there's a lot of punish on this board, though, for a move like that. Is this like... 1, 2... just like lots of knight crits that can happen, essentially. And unfortunately, for people that are new, knights have to move 6 spaces away from where they started to get the crit. They can't just do like a loop-de-loo or like a U-turn and get the crit. So this golem is safe from crits right now. At least for the moment. Take a look at the overview again. So back to even on income. Red Gems did a lot of damage this turn. Definitely got a lot of unit kills. It's just going to be about how can Ash punish this? How is he going to get big damage on the board for himself? Are we going to see probably at least one Witch Hex come down, I think? Or is he... Actually, he could pick off the balloon.
I don't know about that balloon play. I would have moved the pike a little bit closer to that side, because the knights are going to follow up. You want that other pike over there. Where it's the pike that hasn't moved yet. Where it's sitting right now, you can't really impact the left flank of the next fight. Unless, maybe, they're thinking Caesar's going to try to backdoor the stronghold by moving both knights into crit position on it and then grouping them.
Oh, actually, wait a minute. Dogs kill the swords. Knights move into crit. Wait, that's lethal.
Yeah. Yeah, if Caesar can get all 4, that is lethal.
Because one of the knights can move into crit position from the right. One of the knights can move into crit position from the bottom. Dog Mage. I think this... That might be game. I guess the question is Ash going to see it? Because Twitch chat is definitely noticing it now. Yeah, I think there should have been like a dragon left up here or something. Is Ash gonna see this lethal? Because, you know, the obvious target is you do loads of damage up here. And I guess the other important question is, does Ash know about knights, double knight hits on HQs being guaranteed? People asking in chat. Yes, 2 knights is guaranteed kill on a headquarters now. I don't know how I feel about that knight position.
Nah, it's no longer doable. Caesar can't reach that knight. Ash didn't see it. To be fair, even when I said it, I didn't see it. I was like, oh, or maybe he put it there to stop like a double knight on the stronghold. But that's not possible. And then you were like, oh yeah, it is.
This is the time pressure. And here's the thing, like when the clock's running against you, you don't see this kind of thing yourself. So we're probably just gonna see Ash do like the safer play.
Alright, turn 11. Tenri finally has groove.
The Ash. Oh, I mean, this is where the damage is coming in, right?
think that was supposed to be a knight crit, but that sword.
I don't know if that spear roll's gonna kill this sword underneath. Oh, it does. Okay. This changes things.
Caesar can't make it though. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, Caesar can't groove here.
Oh, that's very unfortunate actually. It does a lot of damage. Oh, this is a rough turn 11. I mean, like, he's doing well. He just killed a lot of units. I mean, they're all swords, but, like, that's still stuff that isn't on the board anymore. And you look at what it's been replaced by. Ash just needs to start playing fast. Like, I probably wouldn't even move the dogs south, or maybe just, like, move them forward without thinking too much.
Caesar could die. Golem on top. Dragon Strike, Tenri Treb. Anything else hits. Yeah, Ash noticed. He's trying to protect it.
Maybe put Caesar on the mountain? Yeah. So nice safety play. Put the balloon to the right even? Yeah. He's doing it as I'm saying it. These are like kind of obvious things coming in. Why am I getting picked? That's not important. But here comes Red Jam's turn, and now he has Tenri Groove. And Tenri Groove, this is when it becomes terrifying. Takes out the witch. Good play. There isn't that much anti-air left on the field anymore. We could even like see Tenri move her dragon to kill that mage, and then suddenly there's no anti-air left on the field. And yeah, this is like when I was saying earlier, you want to make your early turns fast because it gives you extra time in the end game. Stuff like this is why, like, you have Tenri Groove. She can move any unit on the field to any, basically like anywhere close to her. People are saying you move the trebuchet to kill the mage, and then suddenly this dragon can just do whatever the hell it wants.
Due to the fact that the villages are sea villages, that knight does not have crit on the HQ, even though it looks like it does, because it would have to cross its own path.
Oh, Red Gem says 1337 gold. Probably not on purpose, but amusing if you're from that era of the internet. Ooh, doesn't finish off the spear. That's quite big. Like, you'd really want that spear to go down. I think it can as well, actually. 60. Followed by 40. So you'd have to high roll it, but you could kill the spear. And something's really... Actually, I'm looking at what the units are on the field, and it's like double golem, double knight. So move the trap forward without Tenri grooving it. The mage is safe from yeah, that mage is alive. So the mage is just like a big threat as well. It can heal, it can move, and then like Caesar can groove it and it can kill the dragon.
Like, if Tenri really wanted to, she could go to the right of the village, groove, kill the mage. Oh, there are no options to do it anymore. She could have groove killed the mage with the treb. Just move it instead. Could dragon kill the mage?
There's a flagstone above the mage, so dragon can't.
No, with groove. If Tenri goes to the right of the village, she could groove the mage onto the road and eat it.
Yeah, that's true, and there isn't anything to stop that. The best punish is a 14% health archer crit. But I guess the punish, like, that Ash would go for would just be to wipe out the rest of the army.
Or to try to kill Tenri.
On the right of the village, though? I don't know. I mean, like, the other possibility is, like, you line up night crits from the left. But I don't know how feasible that is.
Right in front of Tenri would crit Tenri on the right side to the right of the village. And then it would be immediately followed up with a crit from the other knight who could do it on top. So that's 2 night crits. The only trouble is Caesar can't really do anything to follow up with that, because 2 night crits on Commander, it's not enough on Plains. It's not even enough on Road.
Seeing people suggest, like, move one of the enemy golems onto the road and use the dragon to kill it. Guaranteed, so decent option. But yeah, like, you kill the mage with the dragon, and then, like, suddenly there's no anti-air. Actually, will the dragon even kill a mage in that position? No, the dragon can't lethal the mage. Oh, so mage could heal reinforcement village, and then Caesar Groove could make... Oh, what are we gonna see? Probably golem onto road. Okay. Goes for a safe option. That's very good damage. But I guess the question, is it enough? It's very important as well.
That positioning makes it so the knights can only hit her on 5 spaces.
Yeah, and the other thing as well is, well, unless you pop this village first, you know, it could happen.
Popping the village would cost a lot of unit action, though. Let's say the archer can do enough damage to that pike on plane so the giant can finish it off. And Caesar manages to groove the giant so it hits again and can decap the village. That's the only way I see that happening, and then you've used up the giant, and Caesar has to groove in a certain spot. In answer to the chat, no, the knight is not in crit range. Although it would move 6 spaces to hit the stronghold, it would cross its own path. It's not 6 spaces away. It also can't walk through the sea village.
Yeah, the forest and the mountain are the things really stopping that knight from being effective right now. Oh, Ash has 2 minutes left. So whatever he does, like, he just has to make turns, and, like, you just have to play fast in this position. And, like, he might just have gone, I can't do it. I can't make it happen. Red Gems can just stall at this point. Ash would just have to constantly play fast, make single units like dragons every turn, push forward. Goes for the defeat. That's a rough loss, especially he had a guaranteed lethal. Turn 11,
Yeah.
2 turns ago, he would have done it. That's a rough way to go.